Hello everyone, welcome to i-nastava. This is an English lesson for second grade of high school. Our topic today is boarding schools. Our names are Anna and Sandra, and we'll be your teachers today.
By the end of today's lesson, you'll be able to make difference between day school and boarding school. You will understand the structure of boarding schools in England, and you'll be able to analyze good and bad sides of a boarding school.
For this lesson you will need pen or pencil, notebook, device for internet access, and don't forget, you can stop the video at any time you need. In our first activity, you should take a look at those pictures and think about what they refer to. Pause the video and take some notes, ideas in your notebook. Think about what they have in common, what way they are different, and what kind of school they are.
Maybe you've come up with these ideas: school uniforms, co-educational schools, graduation, single-sex schools, full boarders, boarding house, extracurricular activities. You are going to listen to or use these words in today's lesson.
And now let's clarify the meaning of boarding school. A boarding school is a school where students live and study. The word boarding is used in the sense of bed and board. There are many different types of boarding schools in the UK. Some are single-sex schools, while others are co-educational. Single-sex boarding schools are either for boys or girls. Co-educational schools have both female or male students. Nowadays, boarding schools offer more flexible arrangements than traditional boarding schools did in the past. There are private or independent and state schools. Private or independent schools charge school fees. Many of these schools accept a mixture of full boarders who live in the school grounds during term time, weekly boarders who return home only at weekends, and day students who return home each evening. State schools are mostly mixed schools, where education is provided free, but parents pay for the cost of boarding.
And now it's your turn. You are going to take a virtual tour around Wickham Abbey. During the tour, think about what a typical school day in this school looks like.
As you have seen, Wickham Abbey is a large complex where students spend their school days. The boarding houses are modern and spacious. The green spaces, sports pitches, and other communal facilities provide opportunity for relaxing and learning. But what about school schedule? Here you can see Linsly boarding school schedule, very similar to any other boarding school. As you see, a typical day starts at 7:45. School lessons start at 8 and last till lunch. After lunch, students have after-school extracurriculars or sports activities. After dinner, students have free time to work on their homework or outdoor activities. They have study hall. Study hall hours are mandatory for all students. They are required to sit at their desks and study hard. So, what do you think about this schedule? Think, how is it different from yours?
You've just seen the schedule of one English boarding school. You may wonder why the students want to enter these schools since their schedules are so tight. Don't worry, they still have some free time and they still have fun there. Let's meet Robin, a girl from Ireland who came to English boarding school. Let's see what's her experience like in there. But don't forget to remember details about her life, since you'll be asked about them in the upcoming task. Here is the link which will lead you to the promised task. It's an interactive image in which you'll find some sentences you should fill out the gaps in, as well as some questions to answer. If you are not sure about any detail, try to find the door which will help you. How? You will see. Please write your answers in your notebooks. And now here are the answers. Robin comes from Ireland. She is boarding at Ripon Grammar School. She is a sixth former. She was in a day school in Ireland. She was anxious when she arrived. She mentions a cathedral, a few churches, a town square, lots of shops when describing Ripon. On Wednesday, she volunteers at a local care home. As to the sports, she mentions hockey, rugby, tennis, cricket, swimming, diving. And she wants to study medicine.
As you have entered the world of boarding schools, you probably have your opinion about them. What you are supposed to do now is to think of pluses and minuses of boarding school. Pause the video, take your notebook, draw a table, and write down some arguments. You have probably come up with many arguments for or against boarding schools. Here are some we come up with. Pluses might be smaller classes, strong athletics programs, teachers live in dorms with their students, nice surrounding, diversity, positive peer influence, and preparations for college life. Disadvantages are homesickness, adjusting, gender separation, blending in, difficult to find friends outside boarding school, and expensive. If you have any unfamiliar words on these boards, please look them up in your dictionary. Now we move on to another task. Pause the video and go to the provided link or just scan the code. Your task is to find the right meaning for words and phrases related to boarding school.
I'm sure you've done the previous task well. Here is another vocabulary task in which you should complete the sentences with the following words: freshman, sophomore, campus, housemaster, light out, tutor, tuition, senior, graduate, day boarders, full boarders, and residence hall. Copy the sentences in your notebooks and do the task. We'll check it together later. And here are the answers. When I came to campus for the first time, I was terrified. There were 10,000 students and I was a freshman. Everything was new and so strange to me.
Many of the schools accept a mixture of full boarders, weekly boarders, or day boarders.
My brother is a sophomore, a second-year high school student, but his friend is a senior and he's going to graduate in June.
Our current housemaster is a great man, always willing to help. He is in charge of our residence hall at school.
Most school dormitories have a light out. That is time when students are required to be in bed.
A private school charges the same tuition for all students attending the school.
My tutor encourages me to read poetry.
Let's move on. You have a reading task. Stop the video and read the text about Indian boarding schools. As you know, after the white men occupied American territory, they wanted to re-educate Native Americans and force them to the new way of life that was unfamiliar to them. Read carefully because you have the task related to the text afterwards. After reading the text, stop the video again and write down your comments on the text. These questions might help you, but you don't have to stick to them. The questions are: when you saw the title Indian Boarding School, did you expect the text like this one? How do you feel when reading the text? What emotions did the text provoke in you? Describe the life in Indian boarding schools. How did it look like? What do you find shocking? Let's move on. Here is the link for those who want to know more. On the provided link, there is a song, Residential School Song by Cheryl Bear, which will help you to understand mom's feelings after being separated from her child. Listen to the song and write down 5 adjectives describing mom's emotions. Your final task is to write an essay. It is for and against essay on boarding schools. But let's revise the steps you should follow when writing a for and against essay. First, make a list of arguments for and against boarding schools. You should follow the structure of a for and against essay, which means that your essay should have 4 paragraphs: introduction, body, and conclusion. Don't forget, the body consists of 2 paragraphs, for and against. Provide reasons and examples to support your arguments. As to the conclusion, don't forget to start it with a short summary and then state your opinion. Your essay should have 175 words. And let's finish this lesson with self-assessment. Here is the exit card, which will make you think about what you could or couldn't do in terms of today's topic. Put a tick in a cell appropriate for you. That's all for today, and stay safe. Bye!